Hi students, the time has come for our final, or maybe our final, conditionals comparison video. So now we're going to talk about the second and the third conditional. So second and third conditional. Second conditional, as we've learned before, is an imagined future. You can imagine something happening in the future. And when I imagine something, do I think it's going to happen? Is it a plan? Is it true? No. It's an imagined future. So it's something I don't think will happen, or that is unlikely to happen in the future. For example, if I won the lottery, I'd buy a new house. Or if I were Superman, I'd fly to work every morning. Am I going to win the lottery? Am I going to am I going to be Superman? I don't think so. So I can use this second conditional. Okay? Unlikely, impossible. I don't think it's going to happen. All right? And the pattern for the second conditional. When you use the second conditional in English, we're going to use if plus past simple, if plus past, would plus our infinitive. That's why I say, if I won, I would. If I won, I would. Past and would for the main clause. I could also say, if I were, what's that? If I were, I know some of you, you might think, if I was, you were. Well, in this grammar, you can use if I were, because we're talking about something imaginary. We often say, if I were you. If I were you, I would study English every day. If I were you. Can I be you? Am I you? No, it's impossible. So we can say, if I were. It's a special English rule. If I were you. If I were Superman. Okay? Now let's move on to our third conditional. Second conditional, we were talking about our imaginary future. Now we're going to talk about an imaginary past. Now, what does that mean, an imaginary past? Well, I'll think about China. Many of my students are Chinese. Many of my students grew up in China. Well, for me, did I grow up in China? I did not grow up in China. I grew up in the USA. So I can imagine a different past. If I had grown up in China, I would have learned Chinese, of course. If I had grown up in China, I would have read Chinese at school. All of these things would have been true if I had grown up in China. But remember, this is imaginary past. So when I want to focus on this imaginary situation in my past, I use this pattern. I use if, then I use had plus PP. It's the same style as past perfect if you have studied past perfect before. Had PP, that's our first part, the if clause. And then our main clause, I need to use would, have, and PP. If I had I would have For this, the verbs are both going to be the past participle, the PP. All right? So now let's one more comparison right here. See the had grown up, would have learned for my imagined past. Okay, if you need to, take a picture of this. It's very important. And now, last thing today, guys, I want to compare. Of course, I want to compare the second conditional and the third conditional. First sentence. If I was able to travel, I'd go to China. If I was able to travel, I'd go to China. Can I travel now? You guys, if you're watching this in 2022, can we travel in 2022? I can't travel in 2022 because of COVID, right? I have my COVID mask. I have to stay in my country because of COVID. So I can't really travel. This is imaginary. This is my imagination. So I say, if I was able to travel, I would go to China. Past simple and would. My imagined future. Then let's change. If I had been able to travel, I would have gone to China. If I had been able to travel, I would have gone to China. Had been, this one is our past perfect style, had PP. And then I use would have gone also is PP, a past participle. So from this grammar, I know I'm talking about the past. If I had been able to travel last year, I would have gone to China. Okay, that's the way English works. Using these patterns, we know about the time. They teach us about time. So second conditional, always that imaginary future time. And our had, would have is always about an imaginary past time. All right, so you guys, I hope that helped you. Hope that helped you out, right? Here's one last slide if you want to take a picture. This gives us the grammar pattern and it gives us the example sentences. You can use these. Again, pause the video right now. In your notebook, write your own second conditional and your own third conditional sentence. And I'd love to see you comment below with your own example sentences. Okay, one second conditional and one third conditional. You can do that, of course, here on YouTube. You can also find me on Twitter. I love talking to people on Twitter, so you can ask me more specific questions on there as well. Overall, I hope this helped you guys, and I will see you in the next video. So, bye-bye.